We're going to do another field gear video for today, a quick one. I debated for a while trying to figure out how to carry cooking oils inside the field. Now, you're not always going to be grilling stuff when you're out in the field over a fire. You may want to, fry an egg or something like that, or you caught several small animals that if you grilled them over a fire, they're going to dry up and turn into super hard jerky in no time flat, probably long before it's cooked long enough to kill parasites. So maybe you want to debone it and you want to chop it up into small pieces, fry it up, and then add it to maybe some white rice or some noodles or something like that. Well, you're probably not going to get enough fat off wild game over most of the year to be able to do that. The only game I could think of that could supply enough fat to be able to do that may be bear meat or potentially feral hogs. But for most of us in the United States, we don't have large populations of feral hogs nearby that would be part of our staples in our diets. Quick note with feral hogs, and really with any wild game, make sure to cook it long enough to kill off any parasites. If you are using the feral hogs, the warthogs and that stuff as a staple of your diet, you definitely want to cook those for a long time because feral hogs are parasite ridden. They're filled with it. You can still eat it, you just want to cook it long enough. Now, I've watched a bunch of camping and hiking videos to see what some people have done for carrying oil for cooking purposes. Typically, I see them carrying around small plastic bottles similar to what they would have inside a traveler's personal hygiene kit. That bottle was meant for like mouthwash. Well, I've seen them use those small bottles to carry oil in, but really that bottle would only hold enough oil for a couple meals at most. For militia, potential guerrilla operations, you're going to be out in the field a long period of time. You're not going to be able to come in for regular supplies from a reliable logistics source. You got to carry stuff with you. And something I thought of is the metal drinking bottles. This particular one I got off the clearance at China Mart, aka Walmart. As you can see, the original color was red. The entire bottle is red. This is made by SIG, a Swiss company. Well, this red color, it's also very shiny. It'll reflect light. It'll be easily noticed. So one of the ways I thought of taking care of that is paint over it. I got some Rust-Oleum camouflage brand paint. This is a olive drab type color. Now I prepped the bottle. Now on the cap on this thing there is a rubber gasket. Do not get paint on the gasket. It will dry it out and it'll crack, so then the bottle will leak. So I prepped it by putting some masking tape over that, making sure to cover every little bit of that gasket that was possible. When I take this off, I'll probably have a little ring of red right below the cap, but that won't be as much of an issue as an entire red bottle. I put the string on here for when I'm drying this so that we don't end up with smudge marks that will peel away some of the paint. But this bottle is about a quart, maybe closer to a liter in volume, so that'd be quite a bit of cooking oil you can carry with you that would last a lot of meals in the field, especially if you use your stuff sparingly, something you should always do in guerrilla operations. So just go through, spray paint it up to cover up red paint. You may want to give it a couple coats like I'm doing here to make sure it's nice and thick. this, it's not going to rub off as easy. Make sure to get the bottoms. The bottom is a spot where it's really going to wear through. So if you want to put on like a second or third or even a fourth coat on the bottom, I'd recommend it. But this paint will dry to the darker color, and it'll be harder to notice if it's tied to the side of your rucksack. I'm currently experimenting with a different type of rucksack. For decades now, I've used the Alice pack, in particular the large Alice pack. I'm experimenting with a civilian one that's a little bit smaller. I'm doing that because of age. You know, I'm not in my 20s anymore and can carry, 80 pounds on my back reliably for 20 some miles like I used to. So I got to cut back on what I carry. So I'm trying a different type of civilian made tactical backpack that I got fairly cheap. After I test it out some more, I'll do a video on it and give you my pros and cons to it and modifications that I'm currently doing to the bag. But on the side of the bag there's a pouch for putting this type of bottle in, and that's how I plan to carry my cooking oil. So now I'm going to take this, go put it in the shed, hang it from a nail or something to let it dry for a day or two till we get this nice thick hardened paint on here and this dulled color, so it should not stand out. But this is just one more thing that you could add to your gear should you so choose for carrying cooking oil. I would recommend at least one person inside your fire team have a bottle of oil like this, either for just themselves or for the fire team to use. You could you could use this as each individual person would carry, or do it as a team or squad issue item. As for how much this cost, I got it off the clearance, so it did not cost much at all. I know there are tactical camouflage patterned ones like this out there. Most of the ones I see are usually stainless steel, or like this, they're painted in a bright shiny color so that you can find them easily. Well, if that's the case, if they're stainless or the bright color, you'll want to paint them, you'll want to dull them down, and this will help. I'll mention that I know when I was serving, some people used to carry thermoses, coffee thermoses with them in the field. They would just tie them to the sides of their rucksacks. Well, they would cover up the thermos using camouflage tape. That's also an option, but this will probably last a little bit longer than the tape will, giving it a good coat of paint and giving it a couple good coats. Now, for all my engineer brothers in the Patriot and Militia movements, always remember, essayons.